Welcome to Happy Hour Holidays, your go-to podcast for business, entrepreneurship, and life stories. If you want to tune in, go to our link tree on Instagram, and you can absolutely find us on Spotify and multiple sources. Today on the show, we got Gina Pena, a very popular psychologist here in the Tampa Bay area who's been on Channel 8 with Gail and many more media outlets. I'm Manny Febre, your host. We got Sean Febre, your co-host. Gina, how you doing today?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Pretty good, doing great. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you came about to becoming a well-known psychologist here in the Tampa Bay area.
Okay, so I started off as a fifth grade teacher. That's how it all started back in Miami, Florida. I just graduated college, was a fifth grade teacher, realized I hated teaching. I had like 42 fifth graders. I was a young 20-year-old, and I wanted something different, but my passion was always in fitness. And my dream was to be a fitness competitor. But at that time, 20 years ago, they didn't really have divisions that I fit in. It was either bodybuilders or fitness where you had to do like acrobatics, basically. Yeah. So I decided to do a local bikini pageant at the time. And I ended up winning that pageant and winning the next, and I became the first Miss Cuba, Miss Hawaiian Tropic International. Wow. So I went to Vegas. I won that contest, did a lot of photo shoots, ended up moving to Los Angeles. So while I was modeling on the side, I would also do personal training. And as I was personal training at a gym, a local gym in Los Angeles, one of my clients said, hey, not only did you help me mentally, but you also helped me, physically, you also helped me mentally. And I always was talking about, God, I just want to do something different. He said, go back to school and become a therapist. So I enrolled in Pepperdine and got my master's, got my PhD, and became a therapist.
Oh, wow, man. That's a crazy story. I mean, just going, how was Los Angeles moving out there? I mean, were you born and raised here in Tampa?
No, so I was born and raised in Miami, Florida.
Oh, yeah, Miami, Florida.
From Cuban family.
Yeah.
Very strict Cuban families. You can imagine when my parents were like, "Oh, you're doing a bikini what?"
I know that wouldn't go well with my dad. He barely let my sister out of the room. My sister would be like, "Can I go somewhere?" It's like, no, the guys can go. The girls got to stay here. And she was like, "What is this?"
And what I don't know if people realize what a Cuban family means, but it's very strict. I was a Cuban little princess. Like I didn't know how to ride a bicycle until I became an adult.
Oh, wow.
Because I was dressed in my little dress with we had the little Violetas cologne. It was like the Cuban cologne. Yeah. And I would just sit there watching all the kids outside with my old gold jewelry. So it was very sheltered life. So it was definitely a shock to my family.
Where in Miami did you grow up?
Kendall.
Yep. Where's that?
South Miami.
South Miami.
Yeah.
Do you see that part of Miami kind of similar to Tampa, or is that really like Little Havana almost?
Oh, no, it's so different. It's definitely Little Havana. I feel Tampa, even though I've met a lot of Cubans, it's a little more, I would say, Americanized.
That's
right?
100%. Yeah.
In Miami, if you don't speak Spanish, you're not going to even get anywhere in life.
That's crazy. I went to a McDonald's and my mom's like, you got to order in Spanish. I was like, are we in America? And she was like, yeah, this is Miami. It's a whole different world. Like, you got to know Spanish in order to order some food.
Yeah, you're basically in Cuba when you're in Miami. Yes.
It's crazy.
So what kind of psychology do you do?
Okay, so I'm a licensed mental health counselor. So I see everything from depression disorders, anxiety. I see a lot of couples in my office. I'm also a certified sex therapist as well, which we can get into on how I became that. But I see it all. I see all types of disorders, people with gender identity disorders. I see a lot of children. Nowadays, my biggest clientele, believe it or not, are teenagers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I would say that's the biggest population I'm seeing that has depression and anxiety.
And what are the reasons normally for those depression and anxiety disorders in those teenagers? I mean, what are you frequently hearing about?
Social media.
From them? Social media?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I believe that the reason our teenagers are so depressed and so anxious, there's so much more pressure on them. And when I was a teenager, I didn't have everyone watching me, and I didn't have the pressure of having to look a certain way all the time. And now these kids have a lot more pressure on them. Even with sports, I feel like there's more pressure too.
Yeah, because it's so media involved. And I mean, if you have a bad game, they chew you up on social media. I mean, just the media itself. I mean, it's been really critical with probably how mental health has been really critical here in the last 5 years, you could say, right?
You could almost say that if you get rid of social media, there would be less depression and anxiety, correct?
Yeah, because one of the reasons that anybody has anxiety or depression is not just conscious things that are going on in your life, but they're subconscious messages that we are receiving as children, even as adults. And we start becoming those messages. We don't even realize we're becoming those messages, such as, I'm not good enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not pretty enough. And now you're living life this way. So you're constantly being triggered. And with social media, that's just giving you that constant
Yeah.
message. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. And then we live our lives like that.
What's your advice to individuals that are going through these kinds of ordeals in their personal lives? What do you typically say to them?
Well, first of all, I say you need to do an inventory of your life. The reason you're depressed isn't just because, some people definitely have some disorders that are hereditary, but for the most part, it's environmental. So clean out your environment. Like, what's going on in your environment? Are you on your phone too much? Are there people in your life that just don't serve value to you anymore?
Yeah.
You really just have to look around you and you'll realize that it's your environment. If you start cleaning that up, and focusing on, hey, this is my world and who belongs here and what belongs here. Almost like a car, you want to keep your car clean, you want to give it good gas. Your body and your mind is the same thing. You got to keep it clean, you got to keep it healthy and keep everything that's bad out of it.
That's actually great advice. Yeah. So, taking inventory of your friends, I think, is a big ordeal
Yes.
here because a lot of people, maybe they have known an individual since middle school or elementary school, and to cut somebody off is such a big deal for them that they choose not to do it. Like I myself have cut off family members, I've cut off friends that I've known my entire life in order to become something that I knew I could always be. But unfortunately, most people need to hear that there are people that you've known your entire life that you no longer should know.
Yeah. So what happens with that, we go through seasons. And I think if we look at our life like seasons, then you will cope with it a little bit better. So when we know people forever, and in that time of our life, they were great. We were on the same page, with our same mindsets, but we start evolving. And sometimes those people stay over here and we're evolving over a different way. So just really recognizing that it's not because we don't love you, but we're just going to love you a little differently this time. And you need to love yourself first, because I think that one of our pressures is that we want to please everyone. We want to make sure that this person's happy, that our family's happy, but then we're suffering and now we can't be good for anybody. So just recognizing that we're still going to love this person. It's just going to be in a different way and it's going to be a little bit further away.
I'm assuming you've cut people off then.
Absolutely. I've had to. I've had to because I'm like, why is this person bringing me down? Or the more successful you get, people get jealous or they'll get,
Yep.
I'm just going to be honest, people do. They don't,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't want to see you happy.
Or
They
better,
really
they
don't.
want you to do just as good as them, but
Yes.
never above.
Yeah.
They hate us because they ain't us.
They hate us because they ain't
It's
us.
so true, right? And that's not our problem. That's not our problem.
No.
Those people need to work on themselves. They have insecurities they need to work on, but we can't fix that. And if they're bringing us down, they need to stay away from our lives.
And then you have other friends that are actually genuinely happy for you, that you are succeeding. They may be a little bit more successful than you are at that point,
Yes.
and maybe that's why they want to see you get to their level. And that's something I've encountered when we started Febre Frameworks. It was almost night and day. I could tell exactly who was hating the fact that I was that we were becoming successful, and the people that were giving us ideas and motivations and things of that nature. Those are the individuals that I genuinely like to be surrounded by, because you need that in your life: positivity, motivation, influence, positive influence.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we need inspiration. I think without inspiration, you just become stagnant, So if everyone around you, what's that saying? You never want to be the smartest person in the room. I
Yeah.
never want to be the smartest person in the
No.
room. Like, I want to learn from somebody else.
So
And,
who inspires you then?
oh my gosh.
Or
I
what
have
is
so-
your inspiration? How about that?
Yeah, my inspiration are people that doesn't mean that maybe they're making more money than me. It's that people that are hustling, that are growing. That inspires me. I love to see people grow. And if everyone around me is just kind of okay with just having a simple, basic life, that doesn't inspire me. Like, I want to see people growing and being excited about life and having goals. So anyone that is goal driven, that's what inspires me.
I'm assuming that you have listened to motivational speakers.
Oh, absolutely.
Who would you say is your favorite? I'll start off here. Les
Okay,
Brown.
okay.
Les Brown is my favorite. Who would you say is your favorite motivational speaker?
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to think. I have several on Instagram. I'm trying, now that you asked me, I'm going to be blank. I listen to tons of them on Instagram. I mean, I'm constantly, that's one thing that I will say with social media. Like, it could be bad, but it could also be really good.
Depending on what you follow.
Yeah, depending on what you follow. So I have to think of the name right now, but I have several that I'm always scrolling and watching their feeds, but I can't think of their names right now.
She said so many.
There's so many. There's so many. No, I'm on the
Eric
spot.
Thomas is a good one.
haven't listened
E.T. the hip hop preacher. He's the one who said you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe. Have you heard that before?
No, I haven't.
That's a good one.
Succeed as much as you want to breathe. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is so true.
Yeah,
Like,
'cause-
how much do you want it, right?
Exactly.
Because I meet so many people that they're just, oh, I'm not making it in life and this. I'm like, well, what are you doing about it? Are you actually, do you want it? That's the number one thing I think is desire, passion. I mean, you can't just get into something and not be passionate about it. I mean, you have to really love what you're doing. Like, I know I love what I'm doing. I'm sure you guys love what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
And that gives you that excitement. But if you're just going through life and it's just, all right, I'm doing this because I have to, you're not going to be successful.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, Gina, so going back to your career, I know you've been in a lot of spotlights, radio,
TV.
TV.
Mhm.
How did you get your start to get on the radio, get on TV? Like, walk us a little bit through your career on how you
Yeah.
got to who you are today.
Yeah, that's a really funny story. So I moved to Tampa in 2005, and I got a call. Actually, my husband at the time, my ex-husband. So we have two children, Matthew and Victoria. They're 15 and 16 now, but they're
Whoa.
little babies at the time. And I just moved here. We had these little babies, and he gets a call because he owns Powerhouse Gym. So
Oh, shit,
yeah,
really?
yeah. So that's
Wow.
Matt, my ex-husband, and we had opened the gym out here in Tampa. We had just sold the one in Los Angeles. So he gets a call from this guy, Matt Lloyd, and he's like, "Hey, do you know a Gina Midyett?" That was my last name at the time. And he's like, "Yeah, that's my wife." And he goes, "Well, do you think she'll come on the radio and talk about sex?" And he looks over at me and he's like, "Hey, they're calling me and they want to know if you'll talk about sex." And one thing I will say about me that I will give this advice to everyone listening is do not say no to opportunities.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you do say no to certain things, but if there's an opportunity, I've always been the type of, sure, I'll do it. Okay. Even if I don't really know how to do it, I will figure it out, if it's an opportunity for me. So I said yes. And it ended up being Bubba the Love Sponge on
Oh my God.
102.5 The Bone.
It's a huge show.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well,
He's
I didn't know.
He's national, right?
Yeah.
Now, yes.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I believe it or not, even though I've done pageants and I've done all this stuff, I'm really shy. So,
Definitely doesn't seem like it.
well, I think the world has changed me, right? But so I'm like, oh my God, I was so nervous. I thought I was going to throw up. So I go into the studio and he looks at me and goes, so I told him a little story. It's a side story, okay? When I was in Vegas, when I was Miss Hawaiian Tropic, I was in Vegas and I was in the casino and I'm sitting next to this man with all the girls and stuff. And he goes, "Hey, do you know how to play blackjack?" And I said, "No." "Well, you're going to learn today. And here's my credit card." So I looked down and it was Gene Simmons from Kiss.
No way.
Are you kidding me?
Are you serious?
And his credit card was a Kiss credit card.
Oh my God.
So one of the photographers comes up to me and goes, "You know who that is?" I go, "No." I mean, I'm like 21 and I'm like, I don't know who this is. He goes, "Yeah, that's the guy from Kiss." And he tells me, sings the song. I'm like, "Oh yeah." So I tell them this story before I go on the air and they're like, "That's it. You're Dr. Love," because of the song Dr. Love.
Yeah.
And they're like, "And you're going to be Dr. Love." So right away, the show starts. They're like, "Everyone, welcome Dr. Love, our new sex therapist." And I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Oh my God.
So here's what I'm like, fake it till you make it. But the questions, the callers that would call in and the questions I would get, I didn't even know how to answer half of these things. Nasty, nasty stuff. I didn't know. I would just make up answers.
What would you say is like the craziest question you ever got? Or one of?
How much can I talk about in here? I mean,
Everything,
anything. I can
anything.
say anything.
Anything.
Okay. See, I'm used to mainstream radio.
Yeah, no.
This is a podcast
All right, all
where
right.
no
You can
censor.
curse, you can do whatever you
Very
want. Don't
nice.
matter. Talk about whatever.
The weirdest thing was a guy who called in and said he was having an affair with 3 coworkers, and they would go off on their. So 3 female coworkers, he was a male, and they'd go to the hotel down the street during lunchtime, and they would poop on each other.
What?
Yeah, and then they would smear each other. I can't believe I'm talking
You're
about
joking,
this.
right?
But it's a real question that someone asked me, and he's like, I don't know why I like this, and all I could say was, wow. First of all, there's probably a lot of underlying issues here that we're probably not going to answer in 5 minutes that my segment is going to last. But that was probably one of the craziest ones, or a lot of like.
What
foot
was the answer you
fetishes.
get? What was his question though?
So his question was, I don't know why I do this, but I'm really into this, and these women are into this. Now, was it real? Maybe. Was it not? I don't know. But that was a weird
That could
question.
be. What advice did you give him?
I just told him, I said, my biggest advice is that has bacteria, and you have to really be careful
Yeah.
with doing things that are unsanitary. I mean, that would be my number one advice to you. Number two is, why have you gotten to the point where this is turning you on?
Were you
Maybe
gonna
you're
shit
watching
on
too much
somebody?
pornography, because that's the other thing that happens with pornography. Like the more pornography you watch, sometimes you get so like it's too normal, so you want more and more and more.
Yeah.
You get desensitized, so you want crazier things.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was pretty much my advice to that question.
Okay. Wow, man, that's a crazy one. So when we get back, we'll ask Gina continue the story on the next step after the radio show, or we'll continue with some stories on the radio show. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be right back. And we're back with Happy Hour Holidays, and we got a special guest. We got Reggie, the Regulator Pena in the house. Gina's husband.
Yes.
Vladimir, yes.
AKA.
AKA.
Yes, Mr. Dr. Love.
And Mr. Dr. Love is a bare knuckle boxer, MMA fighter. Dude, what's the craziest fight you've ever been in?
Russia.
Russia.
Russia, Moscow. I get the call on a 1 week notice, like, hey, you want to go to Moscow in the middle of a war? Like, okay, let's go. Sure, right? Why not? I give you some Christmas money. Let's roll.
And they just tape up your fist, right?
Yeah,
That's it.
Take my wrists and they tape it up to your knuckles, but they leave your knuckles exposed, and you're ready to rock, man.
Did you win?
No. No. Didn't train. Just got off the couch, basically, I had to lose 10 pounds the day as I landed. So I had an hour to lose 10 pounds, make the weight.
Bro, you're a big dude, so.
Fight. Yeah, so it was at 205. I'm 240 now. But I was in December. And just one of those things, man. Is the experience of going over there, So
How did you get into that, Reggie? Just like your background, and how did you get into like MMA and
combat sports in general?
Yeah.
I started wrestling at a young age.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
started wrestling when I was 11. I wrestled all through high school. After high school, I was a knucklehead. I got in trouble and stuff like that. So I wanted to wrestle in college, but I kind of blew that, and then I got into started doing jiu-jitsu. And just, with my wrestling, it was just, I missed, competing and having that. So I started doing jiu-jitsu, started winning some tournaments.
Did you do it with the Gracies or?
No, actually, my second fight was against Matt Arroyo, who's like, big time Gracie South Tampa. We're great friends now, but that was my second ever fight. That was a memorable fight, it was great. But back to, I just started competing and winning tournaments, and I met some promoters and got offered to be on some shows, and the rest is history.
No way. Man, that's interesting. You're actually the first MMA fighter I've ever met.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because a lot of people, they think about combat sports and things of that nature as being brutal, right? But, I mean, it's a job, in my opinion. Fuck it. If you like doing it, I'm assuming.
I love doing it. I miss it. I miss the brotherhood of it, the competition, and just, traveling and all that stuff is great too, and getting paid to fight.
Yeah.
When you like to fight,
it's good.
You like to
Yeah,
fight,
it's
yeah.
good.
So let's say that you, I'm just wondering post-fight,
Yeah.
because I see a lot of antics going on pre-fight, where they're talking during the, pre-fight show or whatever the hell it's called. After the fight, I mean, you mentioned brotherhood and things of that nature. are you guys really enemies, or is it more like, yo, bro, like we're getting in here, we're just gonna try to square up, whoever wins, and then after the fight, like it's all good?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Obviously, it's a case by case, but for the most part, man, you have a lot of respect for. That's another man that's trained and he's, you got to respect the grind, respect the hustle. I mean, we're all men. We're in here. We sign. Put our lives on the line, basically. So at the end of the day, sometimes a lot of that talk is mainly just to build the fight and is kind of pumping yourself up, because you got another fight or another guy in front of you. You're like, man, no, screw that. F that. Let's go. But afterwards,
You can curse, bro. You can curse.
Fuck that guy. And then after the fight, it's all love, man. Especially if it's a war. Oh, you love that shit, man. You're just putting a war on. The fans are cheering, and you're just going back and forth. I love wars, man. I love when someone testing me. Yeah. We're just going back to back, throwing blows. And she's like, "You're freaking crazy."
Crazy.
I mean, I'm heads up now, just like, yeah,
let's get back in.
Hey, so how did you and Gina meet?
Publix. Where shopping is a pleasure.
So crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter, well, I was working late and I went to pick up my daughter at my friend's house, and my friend's like, oh, my daughter said, well, I'm really hungry. And I said, okay, well, let's just order Uber Eats. She goes, no, I want pasta. I'm like, oh my God. So I go, let's go to Publix. So I left her in the car. She's 15. I leave a baby in the car. And then I went into Publix and I'm walking in and he's walking in next to me. And we kind of looked at each other, but we didn't even say a word to each other.
We're in the meat section.
You like that ribeye? Just checking out the meat.
So, yeah.
I was exhausted too. I mean, I probably, looked at my words. I was so tired. I'm just. So we didn't say a word to each other. I left, went home, cooked my daughter dinner, and then he DMs me.
Yeah, I had to do a little,
little investigation.
I'm like, how did you find me?
Did you know who she was?
Yes and no. Like I had listened, I actually, for my fights, I was on Ian Beckles' show. Promoting.
Yeah, we know Ron. Ian, we know Ian.
I was promoting my bare knuckle fight, and I had been on this show. And I've done a few other things with the bone before. I coached one of the guys for the Punch Out. So I've been around the bone, and I would listen to the shows, and I've heard her on the air before, and she sounded real sexy on air. I was like, oh, let me see what she looks like. So I was like, damn, all right. So I mean, I knew who she was, and I knew what she looked like. So just now we're in Publix, and I'm just like, man, that girl looks good, But I was like, man, she looks familiar. I was like, she kind of looks like that girl from the radio. Yeah. So I was like, I didn't even know if it was her. I was just kind of like checking. So I go through Ian and I are friends on Instagram. So I go through his page and I look, and I'm like, Dr. Love, and I'm like, oh my God, that's her. That's her. For sure enough, it's her. So I messaged her. I was like, well, you're in my Publix.
I never even answer those, but I was with my friend, and she's like, let me see. And then she answers for me. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. And now you're married, though.
And now we're married.
That's awesome.
You got to thank that friend.
Yes, that's my best friend, Angie. Yes, it's all for her.
I take some balls, man.
Angie.
Yeah.
Thanks, Angie.
Hey, but you know what he did? He wanted something, and he was like, fuck it, I'm going to go after it.
That's
That's
right.
it. And guess what? It worked out.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people get nervous. They're like, oh, you know what? It's just going to be another one. But it's just like, he was like, fuck it. I got to go after it. I've done it a million times,
Because a lot of people, just in general, in business and love and everything, everybody wants and wants and wants, but no one does anything. Just, everyone's like, why can't I find love? Why can't I find this? Well, what are you doing about it? Are you getting off your ass and going out or making friends? Are you putting the hustle in for anything in life? If you're not going to get what you want.
And we were talking about this off air. We were talking about what is your biggest obstacle you have to overcome? And it's your mind.
Your mind.
It's your mind. Yeah. If you can conquer your mind, you can achieve whatever you want in life.
Yes.
And that's a big message for all you out there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and we were also talking about just not caring about what everyone else thinks.
Yeah.
Because
That's
that
the
is
biggest
so
thing.
huge. I mean, I know I'm a people pleaser. I mean, I think everyone to an extent does care what people think, but you have to really just figure out how much of that am I doing, because that is our biggest poison, is caring so much about other people's opinions that it prevents us from being where and who we want to be.
And most people that you meet are probably not going to be authentic because they do not want to say the wrong thing. They don't want to upset anybody. And that just leads them to be ingenuine as opposed to being themselves.
Yes.
And that's so hard to achieve. You really have to have that I don't give a fuck mentality about anybody in order to achieve that.
Yeah, and I know one of the biggest reasons people are depressed is because they're not living their authentic selves. You know, I can see 5 people with depression in front of me, and I can predict. It's like I'm a mind reader. Let's see, you're not living your authentic self. You're not either. You're not either. You're not either. And that's what it is, because you're not being who you are. You're not living your truth, and that brings you down. That just depresses you, gives you anxiety.
Yeah.
All those disorders because you're not being who you really are.
How many clients would you say that you talk to, what percentage of them are because they're depressed or have anxiety, as opposed to maybe something else? Do you want one, bro?
No, I thought it was
He's like, why are they
Celsius. I'm like,
drinking?
Yeah, they are Celsius, bro. You want one?
You got Celsius?
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Well, not,
that's hilarious.
no, not Celsius. Hey, before you crack it open, though, I got a koozie, bro.
Yeah.
It is.
America,
Yes,
bro.
Yes.
But,
I feel like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I mean, bro, hey, it's called Happy Hour Holidays, dog. I mean, fuck it.
We're like talking about depression, and all of a sudden he's like, oh, wait, what's that?
Well, the cure for depression is alcohol.
But you know what? That's okay.
Hey, it's 5 o'clock, by the way.
I'm going to touch upon that for a minute, because I feel that when we are depressed, right, we're just in a valley. I look at it as a valley. Like, you know, we have our mountains, our ups and downs. We're in a valley of struggle. We're in a valley of suffering. But what most humans do is we want to focus on the symptoms. And what do? We drink. We'll listen to a sad song. You know, we're just focusing on coping on the symptoms and making ourselves feel better instead of really standing strong in that suffering. And there's a reason for this. What are the lessons that we're learning in the suffering, you know, and not looking at it as, okay, I'm just going to get rid of this. I'm going to go through this and I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to get through it so I can get to my second mountain or my second hill or my second chapter, whatever you want to define it as. So, you know, I really want to touch upon that because I feel like a lot of people cope with it with unhealthy ways instead of just going, you know what, it's just a season. It's just a valley. I'm going to get through this.
How should they be coping with it?
So you cope with it in healthy ways. So here's the thing. With depression, it's just a lot of negative thinking. And I know I talked earlier about messages. We have these subconscious messages in our minds like, I'm not good enough. I'm not going to ever make it in life. And, you know, we're comparing ourselves to others. So it's really, there's 3 things. Think of thought, feeling, behavior. Our behavior is dysfunction, drinking, sleeping too much, not reaching our goals, whatever it is. Our feeling is sadness. But what is the thought that's causing all this? And that's what you really want to focus on. So when you're feeling sad or you're drinking too much or something that's unhealthy, stop and challenge that thought. Bring out that subconscious thought. What is that thought? I'm not good enough. Is that really true? Are you really not good enough? I guarantee you're going to figure out, I am good enough. Look at all the stuff I've accomplished. What are the victories I've done today? Then just challenging that thought now to a positive thought is going to make you feel happier and it's going to make you do things that are healthier for you. That's the solution.
And that's a lot of negative self-talk, you know, and I think that's a huge problem with people. It's like you know, even I'm just thinking about golf when you were talking about that. It's like golf is so mental. When I go out there, I'm like, I got to hit a good shot. Or I'm going up there and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to hit a good shot. And then when I say that to myself, that's when I hit a bad shot. So you got to go up there and be confident and know that you're going to hit a good shot.
And then what happens when you're not thinking?
They're actually the same thing.
No, bro. When you're not thinking, you hit a good fucking shot. Oh, you ever walk up to like a 5-foot putt and you're like, fuck it, this is for a double bogey. You one-hand putter it and it goes straight in the hole. But if you're standing over it and you're thinking to yourself, oh, God, I got to do this, I got to do that, then it's bad. It's all that self-talk.
I have a bunch of golfer clients. That's exactly what happens.
You know, I got a set of clubs that I haven't been golfing.
You haven't even touched it.
I've never been.
Dude, golf is therapeutic. I'll put it that way.
That's what I hear. That's why I got some clubs. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm like, man.
You need to do it. It'd be good for you.
Yeah, it's fun, man.
I'll go with you.
Let's go.
Well, my wife actually golfs with me occasionally, and I got to tell you, it's a tough one. It's a tough. Well, because I mean, I'm pretty good at golf. she just started, so
Oh, so she has to catch up
she
and they
has
get
to- yeah,
frustrated.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get frustrated. I'm more like, oh shit, here we go again.
I can imagine. Yes. That would be me. I'm not good at it either.
Well,
you're
neither
not
is he.
either.
Yeah, so you guys are good.
Yeah.
So you guys,
Yes.
y'all just need to go to Countryway. You know where Countryway is,
No.
right? Countryway is a short. It's an executive course. It's just a bunch of par threes. They're not very long. That's actually pretty fun if you're
Okay.
getting started. Like that's, I
Nice.
think the first golf course I ever played. Actually,
Where's that
Oh.
at?
it's off of Waters, just west of Sheldon.
Plug for Countryway.
That's where
There
we're
you go.
going.
And they got the
Yeah.
best egg salad sandwich.
Yes, they
Oh,
do, bro.
yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
they got the shit that if your mom made it at home, that's the kind of food they got. Like
Let's
that
go
good
right
stuff.
At work today.
Yeah,
We're gonna
like-
eat egg salad.
Like literally,
Shout out to Roof X. If
literally,
you need a
there,
roof, call your boy.
literally, there's times where like, yo, where do you want to go eat? Countryway.
Oh my
Like we won't even play golf. Just go eat at Countryway.
God.
That's how good that food is, man.
And
Well,
it's
he
cheap.
loves
It's cheap.
food.
And it's cheap as
Cheap as
shit.
hell.
It's cheap
And
as
he likes a
shit.
good deal.
Yeah.
Deal good food, right?
That sounds great.
But RoofX, going back to RoofX, I guess she said shout out to
Shout
RoofX.
out to Roof X, you know. Now I'm in the roofing game for the last 4.5 years, selling roofs. I'm still fighting, you know, if I get the call. But
Yeah.
He's waiting for the right one.
waiting for the
Yeah.
right
Right
call.
one.
Yeah.
you
For
know.
sure.
But no, yeah, we do a lot of roofs. That's what I do. I'm roofing sales, so we do a lot of. We do commercial, residential. We do cash deals, of course, but we also do a lot of insurance work. So,
Where would you say what is the area of operation for RoofX?
we pretty much cover most of Florida. We just stay out of Miami, stay out of Dade County, but yeah, we go Pinellas, Hillsborough, Pasco, Citrus counties. We're all over.
Jacksonville,
Yeah, we'll go out there.
Naples, Sarasota,
Yeah, to say
Damn,
that's
Fort
where we're-
Myers. So RoofX is big.
Big time, yeah.
Yeah.
We do, we do gutters as well. We do solar. So
They put it on a Under Armour shirt.
that's it.
So Reggie, going back to solar, what's your opinion on that overall? Because one of the biggest things I've seen with solar is that a lot of people go, hey, I got an iPhone, right? And then the new one comes out. So let's say you do solar panels on your house, and it's a 20-year loan or whatever it is. By the time the 20 years hits and you pay yours off and you're saving money on that energy, the new panels that are coming out at that time, are they going to be more energy efficient than doing it right now?
Well, I mean, honestly, it just comes back to like renting versus owning. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Everybody, you own your house, you should want to own your power too.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of how I look at it. So
Yeah, just owning the power and being able to get like that credit back, right? Because you
yeah,
get a credit
yeah,
from
you get that 30% tax credit. Basically, the cost is really just purchasing
The panels.
the equipment. Once you own it, Now I say if you don't plan on being in the house for a while, yeah, I would say it's not worth it. But
Yeah.
if you plan to be there long term,
Are there any
Go.
programs that enable you to get free solar panels? Because I always see this shit on Instagram where they're like, oh, get this free Tesla box and solar panels for free. I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, I don't. It's not necessarily
Probably,
free, man. They
yeah.
want to
Yeah,
get you in there, but
Nothing's free in life.
That's what
You get the no money down, and you get the tax credits. You're gonna have a lot of people out there, they're more savvy on the solar side of it than I am, who are gonna be like, oh, that's bullshit. You can get this free.
Yeah.
I think it's all they're just trying to get you.
Yeah.
But you're paying for the panels.
Yeah.
You're once you pay that off, then you're gonna start seeing that return.
So do you guys like give a deal if you buy a roof and solar panels?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We do the solar roof combo. We'll give you a good.
What's the average savings on like say a 2,000 square foot house?
I don't know. Our electric bill is super high. So.
We usually like the way we do it is we get a copy of your electric bill and then we see what your overall usage is and we try to offset what you're going. It's now the mistake that most people make is that they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get solar, I'm gonna save so much energy, and then they go above. Once they get the solar on, now they're just leaving all the lights on and everything. Like, hey, wait a minute, I'm still getting a bill. I'm like, well, yeah, now you're not consuming the same energy that you were using before. So
Yeah.
that's one of those things you got to be mindful of when you do get the solar. It's just do your normal, regular.
Yeah, do it regular. Don't do overdo it, you know?
So.
But going back to you, Gina. When we get back, we'll talk to Gina a little bit about Dr. Love and then after what happened after that in her career, because we were all really interested in that. So we'll be right back. Like, comment, and subscribe, and check out our Instagram page, our Facebook page, and check out the content. Thank you. Welcome back to Happy Hour Holidays. We got Reggie the Regulator Pena. We got Gina Pena, the psychologist, Dr. Love. And we're back in it. So, Gina, we were talking a little bit about when you got your start on the radio at 102.5 The Bone. So how long did you end up doing that for? And then did it make it nationwide as well? That show was nationwide, right?
Yeah,
It was. So let's see. I started doing The Bone 2000. Oh gosh, what year?
You said
was
2005,
that?
right?
Well, 2005 I moved to Tampa, and then I had my kids. They were born 2007. So it was around 2008, 2009 when I was on The Bone, because my kids were little, and they were born in 2007 and 8. I'm trying to think of the year. So 2009, 2010, more or less. Okay, so I did The Bone for about a year, almost like a year, 2 years maybe, and then they all stopped because there was that big scandal with Bubba and Hulk Hogan, and so that show got canceled. I stopped doing that, and then I went to Ron and Ian. So I did the Ron and Ian show for almost, I think, a year also. I mean, I was with them for a long time.
I listened to that for a long
Well,
time.
were they on
Ron and
620?
Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were on
They were
620 because
620,
for
yeah.
the Bucks, you know, I used to listen to them for the Bucks too.
Yeah.
You know, they always covered the Bucks.
WDAE.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great show. The Ron and Ian show. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Did you ever meet the big dog?
Which one?
That was his name, right?
Oh.
Steve Dooming or Boom.
Right. Wasn't his name the
yeah,
big
he
dog?
was the big
I
dog
don't know
on
if I-
620.
I don't know if I met, maybe.
He was on at I think 4 p.m.
Yeah, it was
or
closer
something.
to when.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
because I would
time
go
to-
in the morning. I know that
You
there.
did Migs and Swig too, right?
Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
did that show for a while. So after I did Ron and Ian, then I went to The Bone was Migs and Swigs.
Yes.
There's like so many.
Yeah.
but the main one, then after, the reason I left Ron and Ian was because my friend Roxanne Wilder, who was on over at Beasley, where like 94.1 is and stuff, she asked me to do a show with her for 1010. Money Talk 1010 at the time. And I really was excited about that show because for the first time I was going to be with a female. And I was in such a sexually driven market with these men all the time, you know, and even though they cared what I talked about, it was like, look at her, you know, Hot Dr. Love and her bikini photos.
Oh my God.
And I had to be in that world, and I was kind of getting tired of that world. You know, I was ready to like just talk about what I really wanted to talk about and not feel that pressure about my bikini photos and all that. So anyway, I did that with Roxanne for a while, and I loved it. We had the show RX for Love, and we talked about love and relationships.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So then now I'm with Ian. I do a podcast with Ian, actually.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Really?
he has yeah. So
I've seen it. I've seen that he
It's
does.
on
He does.
Spotify.
He does
He does sports and all kinds of stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
He owns a kava shop.
I know. We've been to
You
it.
have?
Yeah. I've
It's
been to
super
over there by
cool.
Gandy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, he's a cool guy.
Dignitary Kava shop,
yeah.
and he's so chill now. He lives there. He's like, I mean, he's gone from like this. I mean, he's still into football and everything, but he's so simplified now. He's all about like this very chill, and I don't care about whatever thing.
like
I just want to live
Yoda.
my
Yeah.
life.
Like Yoda.
Yeah, so I do that with him now. So yeah, so that was been my radio life.
I do love his logo. His logo is really tight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we went there, he was like, "Bro, I made this logo," and I was like, "Man, this is cool." He was making T-shirts over on the other side
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
He's
don't
an
know.
entrepreneur.
Yeah. No, he is all
He's a
around.
former Bucks player too.
Yeah. He was a Bucks player.
Mhm.
He's always chiming in. I'm always listening to him on Instagram, and he's like, "These damn Bucks," and I'm like, I feel you, Ron. You know?
I know. Yeah, he's
Or Ian,
disappointed.
Yeah.
He's disappointed.
Yeah, no, it's tough. So then after the radio, you went TV.
Yeah. So in the midst of radio, I've
Yeah.
always done TV. I
Yeah,
did Bay News 9, but now I've been doing a regular segment with Gail Guayardo on Channel 8 on her show called Bloom TV.
Okay.
And I go in and talk about just different topics like how to have balance in your life, how to find happiness, you know, just whatever. I need how to be less depressed.
Yeah, speaking of that, Gina, growing a business, with a family,
Oh
I
my
mean, how was that
goodness.
balance, with the
Ugh.
family and career? I mean, you're talking about some craziness because even I was thinking about it. I was telling you off air, it was like, when it comes to like when me and my brother built this, I mean, we were single guys, like we didn't really have a lot going on now, our wife and family now. I couldn't imagine doing it right now because my wife always needs me at home. So it's
Hey,
kind
but
of
we're building this podcast with a wife.
yeah, wife,
Okay, that's what you do it.
as long as it's 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Any other of the extracurricular activities on the weekends, you're not going. I gotta go get my nails done, So how did you manage building, such an empire, with having family, with having your career? How did you balance it all?
Yeah, and I will say it wasn't easy because my whole family's in Miami, so I didn't have
Yeah.
any family here.
Yeah,
It was just me and the kids. Honestly, it was crazy. I mean, I would take them with me to a lot of things. I would go to the gym and they're only 13 months apart, so I would literally have 2 car seats just sitting there watching me on the stair climber, or I'd go to work and just have to find babysitters and find ways. You just find ways. I'm just a big believer that if you want something, you will find a way, and I would find ways, and get help. One thing that I tell young mothers too is like, I know because I've been there. You don't want to ask for help. You think you're Superwoman. I can do everything, but ask for help and don't feel guilty that you're leaving your kids. Like, oh, I'm not going to be a good mom because I had to go to work. I promise that time's going to go by so fast. It's all about the quality time and being a good parent to them. You don't have to be with them all day. It's okay.
Yeah. And
Kid-
you're
kid's
also
not even gonna know,
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
that
they're
age,
not.
Yeah.
They're
I
not.
mean, you're also growing your business. You're doing it for your kids so that
Right.
when they get to of age, you can give them everything that we might not have been able to
Yeah.
get ourselves, So
And that's
it's
priceless.
it's
what you-
priceless
yeah.
because when you get to that point, you give it to them, and you're like, oh man, look how hard I had to work. I mean,
Mhm.
they don't know when I had to drop them off to do this, but I did it for them, and now they're like, damn, my mom and dad, they fucking rock,
Yeah.
When would you say is probably the time where you stopped hiring a babysitter and you let the older one babysit the younger
It
one?
was probably pretty young. Yeah, because I mean, so I would say they're only a year apart, so they both just have to take care of each
Yeah.
other. I would say they were probably like
12?
12. Yeah, I was gonna say 11, 12 years old. I left them. They would stay home alone a lot, but they knew how to cook. They knew how to clean. I mean, not like major cooking, but like microwave stuff. But I was a big believer in making them very independent early on because I knew that I didn't have family here, that I had to, they needed to be independent. So I tried not to baby them too much. And they learned that and I know they're okay as long they had phones, and I wouldn't be gone for too long.
I didn't have phones.
I know, right? It's so different now that they have phones. It makes you feel better. But yeah, like by 11 or 12, like they were pretty independent.
The reason I was asking is because I
Yeah.
went to Hooters with a buddy of mine yesterday,
Mhm.
and he has a live-in nanny. So
Oh, wow.
him and his fiance have a live-in nanny. She's been with the kids since his oldest is 7, the youngest is 3, I think.
Mhm.
And I asked him, I was like, yo, like at some point, this live-in nanny's got to go.
Yeah.
When's the live-in nanny got to go? And he said, as soon as the oldest one is old enough to babysit the young one. That's why I was wondering. I was like,
I would say like 9.
9?
Nice.
Damn, 9.
That's good.
I would say, I mean,
Hey, can they ride a
I know
bike?
my son's 10 and he's pretty sharp. So I mean, 9.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we leave him alone.
Yeah, 9. He's pretty.
Did you put him into MMA?
Oh, my son's a killer.
Yeah.
My son's a killer. He's wrestling right now. We're I started training him boxing when he was 3.
Mhm.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, on the bag, just funny running around the bag, just teaching him how to hit the bag, and he'd move around well. But now we're just strictly wrestling. We're just pure wrestling mode.
Yeah,
and
he's doing great.
yeah, he's doing great. He's won like his last 4 or 5 tournaments in a row. So now we're going to the fall championships this weekend,
Nice.
and
I can't wait
Is
for
there-
that,
he's
bro.
ready.
Mine's about to be 2, so
Oh.
I'm like, I can't wait till he plays sports because
I know.
Call me when he's ready. I'll train him right.
Is there a reason why you put him in wrestling instead of other kinds
Wrestling's the best base for every other martial arts. It's you know,
It's good for scholarships too. When if he
yeah.
wants to go to college, I mean, they have college. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
mixed martial arts. Do they also have like college opportunities?
No.
It's more
No,
wrestling.
it's
when
just
it comes
wrestling.
To,
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
you look at all the champions,
Greco wrestling is what it's called, right?
well, it's folk style. It's high school. They do folk style. But yeah, all the champs are all wrestlers. Khabib, wrestler. You know,
Really?
Usman, wrestler. Now you got Chimaev, this wrestler. They're just all the wrestlers are always dominating the sport. So, you know,
yeah, I mean, it's on the ground a lot. I mean, you're talking about jujitsu.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the ground
it's
combat.
Ground
is where,
game,
yeah.
it's just harder to teach wrestling as you grow, as
Yeah.
you get older, right? So you can't, you know, if you wrestled your whole life, you're a kid, you wrestle through high school, and you're going to be at such a higher level than when you can learn how to box in 3-6 months. Give me a year of boxing, I teach a wrestler how to box in no time, but I can't teach a boxer how to wrestle at a high level in that same time.
Yeah, so that's the foundation to being an MMA fighter or fighter. Whatever.
That's the secret right there, I think.
Yeah.
The secret to being an MMA fighter is to
Yes.
start wrestling young.
Yes.
That's the foundation, and then you move it on
Yeah.
to the
Everything
jiu-jitsu.
else
You
we
heard it
talk.
here first,
Everything else we
folks.
can talk, quickly, but yeah, wrestling,
There
that's
you
where it's
go.
at.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
So during the COVID-19,
So,
yeah.
we
There-
were
there-
talking about
I know
this.
we were talking about that
COVID.
because this motherfucker is always doing that shit. So I give him a hard time about it. But the COVID-19 pandemic, I mean, obviously there's a lot of mental health issues with people fucking staying inside and not being able to go anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So did you see an explosion in your
She
business
chose
from
to.
that?
Oh my gosh. I think that my business boomed during COVID.
Ours
Ours
did
did
actually
too, yeah.
also.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just
COVID
like-
was actually the best thing that happened to
A
us.
lot of people were
Yeah,
doing a lot of stuff for their house
PPP,
too. I mean, they were
ERC.
doing landscaping. I mean,
Get
everything.
roofs.
Yeah, get
Yeah,
roofs,
roofs, yeah.
pools, everything. Because everybody's like,
What
"Fuck."
do you do with yourself?
I know exactly. You're stuck inside your house. You're like, "Fuck, I'm gonna get a pool. I'm gonna improve my house. This is where I'm chilling. I'm building a kitchen. Whatever it is." So, I mean, you must have seen a massive,
Yeah.
influx in there. And what was most of the topics?
It'd probably be mental health, right?
Well, I mean, but what
Yeah.
within it, mental health? It's like, I'm stuck in this house. I'm drinking a lot, or what was
So
the biggest
I
thing?
The
think-
2020 was the drunkest year
Oh,
ever.
it was.
It
literally
Alcoholism
was.
Went up the
I know I was getting it. I was like, and my wife's like, "What?" And I was
It's
like,
9
"Where am
o'clock
I
in the
going?"
morning. Fuck it.
What do I do? So the what happened was that we were all
Hey,
stuck
Reggie,
at
You want
home.
another one?
And we were reflecting so much on ourselves and our relationships. And now actually, one of the biggest things was relationships.
Yeah,
People were stuck at home together. That is super unhealthy.
they weren't used to being together for that
For
period.
that period of time, for so long, 24/7, just being stuck with your partner was very unhealthy. So people were getting more fights. I think a lot of divorces happened. But I think just people got really depressed because a lot of people did lose their jobs, or, they were just scared of the future. For once, you were scared of the future, of what the hell is going to happen in my life. Like maybe you were just living your life, just going through things. And now you're like, oh shit, I wasn't prepared for this. So I think it just brought a lot of reflection, which opened up our minds to our mental health, to maybe we're not mentally healthy, But I think the good thing about it is that it made us a little more mentally aware, which makes us more emotionally intelligent, which is something that the world lacks.
Do you know what me and my wife did?
What's that?
We bought a jet ski.
Oh my goodness.
We bought a jet ski in
Perfect.
2020. We were like, fuck it, bro.
Get
Can't go
out.
nowhere.
Yeah.
We're going to be on the water. So we bought a jet ski and we would just go island camping.
Oh, I love
Oh,
Yeah, so
that's
I
They
got
did
to see
Naked
it.
and Afraid. They did like a Naked and Afraid episode. They're like,
Yeah.
"We're out here. You just see the rain going shh."
Hey, well, yeah,
Inside.
there's a couple days it rained on
Yeah.
us. I mean, it was fun as fuck. We would drop out at Anclo and there was times we took it all the way to fucking Sarasota.
Wow.
And we would go on like
Oh
2
my
or 3 day
God.
camping trips
That's great.
because it's free to camp anywhere. And then you just got to fill up at a marina. But it was a big jet ski. It was like a Sea-Doo GTI 130. And it had like the back part
Like a
with the
3-yacht?
cooler, right? And it was just both of us. So I mean, it was fun.
You see,
That's how I mentally
good.
coped.
Yes, and you did it the right way because a lot of people didn't think outside the box like
Yeah.
that. You know, they're used to like having to plan just their lives separately and having that individuality where you guys became creative with it.
Yeah.
And that was perfect.
Gina, do
Yeah.
you think there was any positives for people to spend a little bit more time together? Like maybe for other couples that maybe were struggling, you know, they're always apart. I mean, did you see any positives out of that where you were
Yeah.
getting out of it?
And is there a reason
Definitely.
why they're always apart?
There you go. Okay. So I think the ones that really had a bad time with it
Yeah.
were because they probably weren't really meant to be together, or they really never took the time to work on their relationships. And then they realized, oh God, we're just so different. We don't even like each other. But we would cope by being separated. But I think some people became closer together,
That's what I was
right?
thinking,
And it
too.
was, and because here's the problem, you know, there's a lot of distractions out there, right? And I think that we live in the world of, we have options. You know, what's better, that we forget what we have in front of us. And when I say the grass isn't greener on the other side, it's only greener if you water it. So
Yeah.
if you don't water your relationship, the grass is going to die, you know? So I think that COVID made us kind of come together and go, wow, you know, this is actually good. And we're nurturing ourselves and we're loving each other and we're getting to know each other. This is great. And now we want to be together.
So what kind of like strategies do you have for maybe some relationships that are struggling, or what do you tell somebody who comes in and they're
Damn,
like,
dog, you trying to get free advice now?
Why not?
no, but for our audience, you know?
For the audience.
Honey, I love you.
We can all do better. Though. We can all do better.
Yeah, but you know, somebody who comes into your office and they're like, "Hey, we're struggling a little bit." I know there's certain things, but what kind of
Yeah.
strategies can you tell our audience that would help somebody or help a couple that's struggling a little bit?
So you have to look at what you're doing, right? Because like number one is I tell couples, you're not even being friendly with each other. Would you treat your best friend the way you're treating your wife or your husband right now? No. So I always make them pause for a second and say, look, you really have to make this commitment to become friends. Like, why is all this hate? One of the two, there's several factors for divorce, okay, or predictors of divorce, but two big ones are name calling and criticism. Okay, so it's easy to do that in a relationship because you're so used to each other, you get comfortable, and we always pick on the ones that are the closest to us. And that's fine, right? As long as we recognize that and go, okay, shit, I'm doing this, I need to stop. So instead of saying, you don't do this right, or you're doing this, say it in a different way. Don't criticize, just give your opinion or maybe how you feel. Name calling, that's a huge one too. So my biggest advice is just kind of be aware of how you're talking to each other. Just use kindness, just be kind. I know it sounds so simple, but
Yeah.
people are just so mean to each other. Couples, and you're supposed to love this person so much, but you're hating each other. So become friends first.
Become friends first.
Yeah.
When we get back, we'll continue talking to Gina and Reggie, the Regulator, about
Love
some more
that name, bro.
stories. Yeah, I know.
Love
Some
that
great
name.
stories. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be right back. I got it right this time.
Did you like living in Los Angeles? Fuck it, let's start it right now.
Well,
Welcome back to Happy Hour Holidays with your host, Sean. So, Gina, you have worked out Ron Burgundy.
Which is funny because when you guys were saying Ron Burgundy, I was
She was
like,
like, who's that? Reggie had to tell her. Will Ferrell?
I said, I trained someone named Ron.
Trained the
I think I
legendary
did.
Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, so I trained Will Ferrell. So when I was a personal trainer in Los Angeles.
Was he funny during the training?
No.
No, he was just like
He's
a
super
regular dude.
Boring. Him and his wife, actually. I trained his wife also. And they're
didn't know he
super
was married.
vanilla, really nice people. But you would never guess this guy is a comedian. Like, they're just normal people, kind of boring in a way, you know?
Never cracked jokes, nothing.
No.
Holy
But you know
shit.
what was funny about him? Because I think that's what's funny about him. He's just so, like, his face, you know? He's just,
You're sitting there.
you know, he's
You're
just...
so funny.
Stop doing that, Will.
I
He's like,
know.
what the fuck are you talking about?
I think it's just that...
boy Blue.
his-
My boy Blue.
I think it's just his like no care attitude that makes him funny. You know, he's just like funny because he just doesn't care. Yeah, okay.
How did you come across him as a client?
So I trained at Powerhouse Gym in Los Angeles, and it was in West Los Angeles. So it was very central. A lot of movie stars, athletes. I mean, it was packed with movie stars. I mean, I would go down the street to the grocery stores and like, who was behind? Mel Gibson was in line at Trader Joe's with me. You know, like it was, and you couldn't really be fazed by it. It was L.A. You know, it was just Los Angeles. Did I like it there? I wouldn't say I liked it there. I think that it was fake.
Yeah.
I think
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, everybody was there to make it in life. Everybody was trying to be an actor and actress or somebody. So you didn't feel that authenticity there. I think it was the land of the lost, I would call it.
The land
Damn,
of the-
that's a
I
good
like
name.
that.
Damn, I'm gonna
I
take that
like
one,
that.
Gina.
Yeah.
Land of the
Land
Lost.
It was definitely. I think the only time I really started enjoying it was when I went to Pepperdine University, which was a beautiful campus on the water in Malibu, gorgeous. And there I made some really cool friends because we were in the same degree program and I had to study with them, so that was cool. But other than that, when I was a trainer, it was just really weird.
Yeah.
It was weird, but there was a lot of celebrities. I trained Natalie Cole. I trained Lisa Marie Presley, Elvis's ex-wife. You know, just
R.I.P.
it was so cool. Yeah, it was cool to just say that I did that. You know, I definitely like that I could say that I did that.
Why'd you move out there?
So so I moved out there. So I moved out there because I was dating Vin Diesel. That was my boyfriend.
No.
So I lived with him for 2 years out there.
Way. Holy
yeah,
shit.
yeah. We can talk about it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm an open book. I always tell him like I'm nothing to hide. So when I was Miss Hawaiian Tropic, I was in Las Vegas, and then I met him, and he flew me out there, and I never went back to Miami. I stayed there with him.
He's like, you don't need anything. Just come
Yeah.
over here.
Wait, would
Yeah.
you compare Miami and Los Angeles to be very similar?
So I would say Miami is a little bit. I would say people in Miami care a lot about their looks, you know, where
They don't in L.A.?
They do, but they care also a lot about their like their cars and their purses and their things. In Miami, maybe now it's a little bit more like that, but when I grew up there, it wasn't so much like that. You know, we could all drive like whatever cars, like no one cared. It was more about looking fit, you know. So I would say that was the difference, if I can really pinpoint something different about
Damn,
it.
I'm surprised you didn't say everybody in Miami just speaks Spanish.
Well, that's true. Actually, yeah, if you don't speak Spanish, you're not going anywhere in Miami. You better speak Spanish.
Yeah, I remember our father, he used to take us down to Miami, maybe at weekends, and we'd go to flea markets. And the reason he'd go down there is because of bird shows, okay?
Really?
Yeah. He bred and raised finches and canaries, right? So anytime I'd go down to the flea market, I mean, I can't speak Spanish fluently, but every time I came down there and I tried to speak Spanish, one of the little vendors or sellers that were selling shit, they'd always say, "Oh my God, this guy's Americana Nacial." Yeah, that pretty much, bro. That's exactly how it was. That's my those are my memories of being in Miami. I'm like, oh shit, they think I'm white.
Yeah. Yeah, Miami. I mean, it's a little Cuba. It really, even though now there's a lot more like Venezuelan and other
Yeah,
South
there
American
is,
people,
yeah.
but definitely little Cuba over there.
Yeah, little Cuba is.
Which I kind of
Mexicanos.
miss sometimes. I miss the culture. And
Well, you go to Igor.
it's
it's not the same.
No, it's not the same.
We identified there's like the Tampa Cubans versus the Miami Cubans.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Well, the Tampa
that's a good
Cubans are more.
question.
The Tampa Cubans are more Americanized. I mean, 100%. I would say. You know, I think Miami Cubans are like you feel like you're in Cuba with a human. But I took him to Calle Ocho.
Calle Ocho.
Good food,
People.
right?
We were dancing on the streets.
Oh,
Yeah.
We danced all night long. We were dancing on the streets. We went to the Ball and Chain.
Oh,
which
you guys
is-
have to go.
I don't know what that
God.
is.
Well, it's Ball and Chain. The history they had originally in Cuba.
Yeah.
They had the Ball and Chain.
And they have a
Yeah.
live Cuban band, and like oh my God, the vibe is just
Yeah,
amazing.
It's a bar out there in Calle Ocho.
But-
But yeah, there was dancing on the streets.
Didn't
you danced
Pitbull make a
song?
song about it?
Oh, that
Maybe.
sounds familiar.
No. He goes, Calle Ocho.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Mr.
he went to
Worldwide.
school out there.
Calle Ocho's where it's at.
I forget where he went. From.
The humidity between Tampa and Miami
Oh, it's
doesn't even
fucking huge.
fucking
Oh,
compare.
no.
I just went down there and I was like, damn, dude, this is a whole nother level of
So
humidity,
hot.
man.
Yeah.
I know.
It's like miserable.
I
a
really
little
like
bit.
Tampa better though. Like I will
I
say,
do, and we're
yeah.
growing. I mean, this is a good place to
I
be.
like Tampa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Were you born and raised in Tampa?
I was born in New York in the Bronx, and our family moved to Florida when I was 12. We grew up about an hour north in Spring Hill.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I know that.
Yeah, I grew up in Spring Hill, wrestled for Springstead High, and then moved to Tampa.
Yeah, Spring Hill is just off of 52.
Yeah, which I go every day because my son still goes to school there.
He
so-
drives from South
Holy
Tampa to
shit.
Spring Hill every other week,
Twice a
every day.
day.
Is that where you guys live, South Tampa?
Yes.
We live in South Tampa, yeah.
Bro, when the hurricane came by, did y'all get flooded out or
We're
anything?
great.
No, not
No?
our house.
No?
But around us it did.
Because I saw like videos of Bayshore,
I
and the shit
know.
was
Yeah.
all the way, it was like, what the fuck?
People were
Even down
canoeing
West
in
Shore.
there.
Yeah, I saw that.
Even down West Shore, there was, flooding.
It does get
so-
really floody over there, though.
Oh yeah, we lucked out, man. We had the Tampa Indians or
Yeah, the Mounds.
The Mounds, yeah.
Watching us,
We
man.
still haven't got a hit yet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, cross the fucking
Oh.
finger.
It is weird, though.
Yeah.
No, it's because of what he's saying, man.
Yeah.
There's mounds that go from Sarasota to like Ruskin to
Yeah.
up in Pasco, and then all the way back into Pinellas, Indian mounds, just random Indian mounds. And somehow a hurricane never goes through
We
Tampa
just get,
Bay.
it's just a little.
That's all it is.
Slips.
Last year, I took me and all the dogs, everyone, we went to Orlando, and then the hurricane ended up going to Orlando. Like, never again. I will stay here.
I think the last hurricane that came through close was in 2017. What was it called, man? Because I went up, because you lived
Andrew?
in Phoenix.
No,
No, that's
2017.
Miami.
17.
I went through
2017.
that. Ooh.
Charlie.
Charlie,
I think
yeah,
it was.
Charlie,
I think
yeah.
it was. Yeah. And but it didn't go straight through Tampa. It just went north.
Yeah.
And Orlando got fucked though. Orlando got fucked. They
Yeah.
got hit hard. Lakeland, Orlando, all that area.
Mhm.
And then speaking of Orlando, I don't. That's another place I would probably never live here in
It's so
Florida.
What are you
Yeah.
talking about? You lived in Orlando.
I know. I had to do it for a job.
I'll
but I
never
wouldn't-
live there.
I'll never
The
do
motherfucker
it
lives
again,
there.
bro. It's like the worst foreigner fucking drivers, man. It's like I don't give a fuck.
Left blinker, right
I-4 is
turn.
the worst,
Oh.
man.
Oh.
I-4 death trap.
Dude,
Yeah.
I don't even fucking take I-4 to go to Orlando. I take State Road 50.
Oh, I need to figure that out because I
Yeah.
hate the I-4. I have the worst anxiety on that thing.
I know.
Or you do this. You take 75, you get off in Sumter, you take Sumter to the Turnpike and take the Turnpike to State Road.
I will do that even if it took longer.
It's only, and you know what? Here's the thing about I-4. It may say it's longer,
Yeah.
but any given day, any given minute, any given second, there's a crash on I-4.
Always.
All the fucking
Always.
time.
Doesn't matter what time, what day.
And then you
I
got
know.
idiots fucking driving on. I fucking hate
Mhm.
I-4. I hate I-4.
I know.
So honestly, the worst. Well, that's why I don't go to Orlando.
I see a lot of veterans also. That's something that I do that have PTSD. I probably see about 30 to 40 veterans a month. I've been
Oh,
doing that
wow.
for 2 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably
Yeah.
a big one there because we were talking to a couple of guys that
Yeah,
were on
we've
the
had a
show,
couple on.
and they were telling us how to deal with civilian life
Mhm.
after the military.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
the most challenging thing ever.
And the reason that reminded me of it is because a lot of them come from Orlando, and just them driving on the I-4, they have to leave hours before just because of the anxiety it gives them. But yeah, that's a whole other topic. I'll tell you, going from military life to civilian life, and they're lost.
But
You know?
what we hear is that they lose the structure
Mhm.
of everyday life
Exactly.
because they're told when to wake up, when to eat,
Yeah.
when to do PT, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And then they come to civilian life and they're like, "Yo, I was important in the military, and then all of a sudden I come here and I'm nobody."
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that's
I'm not the doctor. I'm not, but I'm a doctor, Mr. Dr. Love.
Mr. Dr.
But I just think that if they got into, I think the martial arts definitely would help. can
Yeah, a lot
help
of them
that.
That's
do
not a bad
jujitsu.
I
idea.
think
Yeah.
it would just be a great structure. They
is.
got into jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, some kind of combat, just
Mhm.
because they're used to that structure, they're used to that grind. I just think, mentally it could just be a great avenue for them. Like, I'm not a doctor, but I
No,
sleep
I
in one at
agree.
night.
Mr. Regulator, do you teach?
I
Yes.
do actually, yes. So
You give lessons?
yes, I do. I do private lessons, one-on-ones, and so give me a Regulator MMA on Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to follow you then.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah, he
and
does.
you were speaking of that, Reggie. One of the guys that was in here that was an old vet. He was telling me that he does security for
Well, he
celebrities.
wasn't that old, bro.
No, I'm just saying a vet. I'm not saying old. My bad, Brian. I wasn't saying old. But he was like, hey, I got into security because
Yeah.
it still has some of the basis of what I was doing, wherever he was.
Because you're trained to fight and kill.
Yeah, you're trained
Yeah.
to fight and kill. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's another avenue. Hey, meet a successful business,
Yeah, he was
be in
in the
security.
Marines.
So, I mean, there's other avenues.
And then
too, as well.
shout out to Brian Gordon real quick because
Yeah.
OTS for Vets Run is November 18th.
Oh wow.
So he's having a charity run and he donates it all to the veterans. So
That's so great.
I imagine, you know, when anyone has done something or competed at a high level, or you know, whether it be in the military, you know, putting all that time in service, or competing in martial arts, and then you know being done, your career is over, or golf or whatever. I imagine being involved in something and devoting so much passion and time into it. When it's over, you hit some kind of wall, and some kind of you battle some kind of mental I don't know,
blockade.
you know, there's
Yeah.
definitely something there where you feel like you're not yourself. There's something missing. There's a part of you that's gone. So,
They're
just,
probably asking the question,
Yeah.
now what?
yes,
That's probably what they're asking.
yeah, I think it's definitely important to seek mental, counseling.
Yeah.
Well, you lose
Yeah,
that
we actually talked about
structure.
that also.
You lose that structure, you
Yeah.
lose that routine, and that will cause you to become depressed. And that's one of the things I tell people when they're feeling that way. You need structure, you need routine. Go to bed the same time, wake up the same time, have a morning routine, have, get exercise. I mean, my background was fitness, and I got into mental health because of that. Like, the mind and body are so connected, and really, really using the physical activity, because it releases the same hormones that you will take that an antidepressant will give you, which is the serotonin, those endorphins.
Would you say taking HTP5 is a good idea to build that serotonin that you were talking about?
What is that?
HTP5 is the precursor to serotonin.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't know. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's great and it would work.
You can
Yeah.
buy it at like a GNC or something like
Oh,
that.
I mean, I'm sure if it's a precursor to serotonin, that would be great.
So like when I used to
Yeah.
do a lot of mushrooms.
Wow.
That's another topic. Yeah, I can talk on that.
No, I was going to ask you, Gina, for a lot of people out there, maybe our audience that's, a little bit scared about, reaching out and maybe getting mental wellness or
Oh, yeah.
wellness, what can you tell them to kind of, hey, this is a non-judgmental, zone. You can feel comfortable with discussing your feelings. How do you make those clients feel comfortable?
Yeah.
And then for the audience out there, what can they do to kind of be like, hey, I need to go seek some help?
Okay, so this is my advice, because I
Yeah.
think we're all, as humans, we're ego-driven.
Yes.
I don't care what anyone says, we're ego-driven. So mental health makes us feel like we're weak. So if you say I'm overweight and I have to work out, okay, fine, I'm over, I have to go work out. No one thinks about that, right? They just do it. Mental health, like, oh my God, I'm feeling depressed. No, look at it the same way. Look at it as, hey, I want to be emotionally intelligent. That is so cool. Like there's this whole thing of, we have basic needs and, we want to belong, well, that, but to get to this place of self-actualization is power. So in order to be self-actualized and to be in that place of emotional intelligence, you need to talk about your feelings. You need to let go of that past. You need to let go of those thoughts that are holding you back. And you can do that in therapy. And you can do it in a place where it's safe. No one could ever talk about everything you said. And just look at it as you're going to a personal trainer, you're going to a personal coach. If you want to take away the word therapy, you don't need to label yourself with a diagnosis. Just say, hey, I just want to be better. I just want my mind stronger. That's how you take away the stigma.
That's perfect. With a strong mind, I mean, you can do pretty much anything.
Mhm.
I really appreciate Gina you coming on. Dr.
Oh, we got
Love.
4 minutes, bro.
Oh, I
Oh,
mean,
you put
okay, we
it
still.
in.
Well, Gina, you wanna give our audience a little piece of like your final words to kind of the audience about maybe if they're feeling a little bit down or whatever it is. I
Yeah.
mean,
Whatever
you kind
message
of
you
give us
want
a
to
little
spread.
tip, whatever message you want to kind of tell the audience.
Yeah.
And then maybe plug your business
Yeah,
too.
plug your
I mean,
business too.
Sure. I would say, life is short. Tomorrow's not guaranteed. I think that we're so distracted with social media and so many things that don't matter. I think that really practicing and learning to be mindful and present in our lives, and not just focusing on all the challenges, because God, life gives us challenges, and the world is hard, and there's so much news and so many bad things going on. Turn that off, especially at the end of the day, and just focus on your victories. Focus on things that you can be proud of and that are positive, and start your day with a positive intention. So start your day, end your day with positivity, like bookends, and you will live a better life. You'll live a happier life. Your mind is powerful, and if you don't take care of it, your life, you'll be destroyed. Everyone around you will be destroyed. So you need to focus on yourself. Put yourself first. You're not being selfish, and go get help if you need. It's not a weakness; it's a strength. It's powerful.
And Gina,
Yeah.
where can they find you if they want to reach out to you and maybe book a session? If you want to tell
Yeah.
the audience.
Just go to my Instagram at Dr. Gina. Oh, hello.
Looking at the wrong camera the whole show. Hey, what's up?
Just go to my Instagram at Dr. Gina Love. You can also go to my website, which is lifefocustampa.com. And if I can help you, one of my other therapists can, but I'm always here to help. You can send me a message on Instagram, send me an email. But yeah, Dr. Gina Love's the easiest way to find me on Instagram.
And how about yourself, Regulator? Do you want to give some parting words of wisdom?
Yeah, it's Regulator MMA on Instagram if you want to get fit and learn how to, do some boxing or wrestling. But yeah, words of wisdom. I mean, us as men, we need help too. A lot of times we're scared to ask for it. It's not even scared. We're just, sometimes our ego gets in the way and we're proud and we just think we can handle it all or we can do it all ourselves. And, it's okay. You're not less of a man if you go, get it off your chest, or if you go seek counseling or seek help, it'll make you a better overall person and make you a better man, make you a better father, a better husband, just a better leader all around. So, get some help if you need help. Don't be scared to talk to people. I guarantee, your loved ones will rather hear from you and know that you need help than to come to your funeral. So,
Dark turn.
Yeah, we all got that ego, we can do it all, but we got to leave that shit alone, man.
Yeah.
Just, ask for help if you need it. And if you want to get fit, if you want to learn how to, choke a motherfucker out, hit me up, man. That's what I do. And kids as well. I've been teaching my son since he was 3. You got him wrestling now, so I teach kids wrestling, boxing. So Regulator MMA on Instagram.
Boom.
I want to thank our guests for coming on, Gina Pena and then Reggie the Regulator Pena.
I love that.
It's been an
name, bro.
absolutely freaking pleasure to have you guys on. You guys
Wait, you forgot Dr. Love.
Well, I said, Dr. Love. I said Gina Pena, but yeah, Dr. Love. Dr. Love for sure. We had an awesome episode. You guys are about to catch it. So thank you for listening to Happy Hour Holidays. And like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, you can do anything you put your mind to. Thank you, and peace out.